Okay, so here we are. This is an example of one of the AI book companion agents that I have created for a client. This is Sarah Grace. We have created for her the self-love companion. When you come into the agent, there are 3 different conversation starters that people can click. This is a great place for people to start because it allows them to see what the agent is capable of. So the book, just imagine the book is sitting in the background, all of its knowledge, all the chapters, all the information about Sarah, her thoughts, her methodology. And when we start a conversation with her book companion agent, it's going to pull the information from the book, just the book, not from anywhere else. It's going to use the information that is held within that ecosystem. So the question I have asked is, what do you do and how can you help me? And it's just given a brief summary of what the agent does and how it can help. So let's just go back to the next conversation starter. So there are 3. You just click new chat. Let's have 3 examples of how the agent can be used. So if people are not quite sure, those conversation starters are there to help them to understand how they can use the agent. So it's pulling from the knowledge that's from the book that has been brought together inside ChatGPT, inside of a GPT, which we call an agent. So what that means is someone who's reading the book, let's just say they are stuck on something. Okay, let me think of something. Can you tell me what Sarah says about capacity, building capacity after an emotional breakdown? So Sarah's book is based on her personal story and recovering from traumatic experiences. So you have to use a special framework when you are writing a book agent this way. So it's going to go into what Sarah says, and it's actually referencing in the book whereabouts it's taking the information from. So I can read through Sarah's perspective and I can say, if I'm not quite sure, okay, that's a lot for me to read. Can you break that down into the top 3 most important things in bullet points? You don't need to reference the book chapters. So I can start having a conversation with the book. I can ask lots of different questions. So here we go. Much clearer, much simpler. So I can keep going backwards and forwards with this conversation. So the book companion supports the book. You would always have a book companion and a book, not necessarily just an AI book companion by itself, because you haven't got the context. And when you have your book in front of you, you're reading it and you can see the pages, you can see what chapter you're on. If you've just got access to the companion, you can't do that. So the 2 complement one another and they work together. It is equivalent to having the author in the room with you and asking questions, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm dyslexic, so for me this is brilliant. I can just break things down. Let's just when she talks about a capacity, what does she say are some of the things that helped her to work her way back to full capacity? That was a bit of a tongue twister. Stop the push and choosing regulation instead. Tiny repeatable signals of safety, letting herself receive support instead of doing it alone. Yeah. So it's a very different, rather than just reading the book, you have the opportunity to ask questions of the book. And what it will do is it will put it in context to your own learning style and how you understand things. So it's a very cool way to engage with a book, especially, as I said, if you have anything like dyslexia, if you find books tiring and hard to read. Basically, it is equivalent to having the author in the room with you, which means the book becomes much more sticky. It becomes much more user friendly. People are more likely to engage, more likely to follow through.